How long will you keep lying to yourself? You keep telling yourself you're fine. That lie is killing you. You say you're working on it. Time hears that and laughs. You say you'll start soon. Soon is the graveyard of potential. Every second you delay, your future gets smaller, and you feel it. That tight feeling in your chest, that quiet panic at night, that voice you keep muting. You know something is wrong. Not with the world, not with your situation, with you. You wake up tired before the day even touches you. You scroll before you think. You consume before you create. You escape before you confront. And then you lie. You lie smoothly. You lie professionally. You lie like a survivor trying to stay comfortable. You tell yourself you deserve rest. From what? You haven't done anything. You tell yourself you're burned out from avoiding pressure. You tell yourself you're still young. Young doesn't stop the clock. Young doesn't protect regret. Young doesn't pause consequences. Time does not care how you feel about IT moves. Relentless, unapologetic. This is Dr. Eric T. Motivation Corner. And today I'm not here to motivate you, but I'm here to rip the mask off. Because deep down, you know that you're not confused, that you're compromised. You know exactly what you should be doing. You just don't want to feel the pain of doing you delay. You distract. You dilute your days with noise so you don't hear the truth screaming. Look at your life, look hard. Are you proud of your discipline? Or just proud of your excuses? Do your days look like progress? Or like maintenance? Be honest that you're not stuck, that you're hiding. Hiding behind planning. Hiding behind learning. Hiding behind waiting for the right time. The right time already passed. You felt it. You ignored it. That moment when you should have gone all in. When fear showed up and you backed down. When comfort whispered and you listened. You remembered, don't pretend you don't. Every lie you tell yourself has a cost, and you're paying it daily. You pay it in self-respect. You pay it in confidence. You pay it in that dull shame that never fully goes away. You feel behind because you are behind. Not compared to others. Compared to who you know you could be. That's the pain that doesn't sleep. That's the pressure that follows you everywhere. You can fool people. You can fool social media. You can fool your family. But you cannot fool your own soul. Your soul knows you're wasting time. You keep saying you're busy. Busy doing what? Staying the same? Busy people produce. Distracted people consume. Which one are you? Look at your habits. They tell the truth you won't say out loud. Late nights with no progress. Early mornings with no urgency. Big dreams with tiny actions. You don't need motivation. You need accountability, because right now you're letting yourself off the hook again and again and again. Every time you choose comfort, you train weakness. Every time you avoid pain, you strengthen fear that you're not unlucky, that you're undisciplined. And that hurts to hear because it puts the responsibility back where it belongs, not on you, to villain, conspiracy, to unfair universe. Just choices, repeated daily. You don't rise to your goals, you sink to your habits, and your habits are soft. You wait to feel ready. Ready never comes. You wait for confidence. Confidence is built, not found. You wait for motivation. Motivation follows action, not the other way around, that you've been doing it backwards your whole life. And that's why nothing has changed, that you're lying to yourself, because the truth demands sacrifice. And you don't want to give anything up. You want success without obsession, results without routine, respect without effort. That fantasy is poisoning you. The world does not reward intentions, that IT rewards execution. And right now, your execution is weak. Not because you're incapable, but because you're unwilling to be uncomfortable, unwilling to look stupid, unwilling to suffer quietly. You stay where it's safe and call it patience, that it's not patience, that it's fear of finding out what happens if you really try, fear that you might fail, fear that you might succeed and lose the excuse. Because as long as you're still getting ready, you don't have to face the results, but time is watching, and time is keeping score. Every wasted hour is being recorded. Every avoided task, every half-effort point one day, the bill comes due, and it doesn't care about your reasons. You will either pay with discipline now or regret later. There's no third option. You feel that pressure rising, that's reality tapping you on the shoulder, not gently, urgently, because the longer you lie, the harder it becomes to tell the truth, and the truth is simple. You are capable of more, and you are choosing less, not once, but daily. That's the lie. And today it ends, daughter, it owns you forever. You don't fix this with hope, you fix this with war, because the moment you stop lying to yourself, a new enemy shows up. Discipline. And discipline doesn't care how you feel. IT doesn't negotiate. IT doesn't explain itself. IT demands. This is where most of you quit. Not because it's impossible, because it's uncomfortable. You want change without resistance, growth without friction, victory without bleeding. That's not how this works. This is Dr. Eric T. Motivation Corner. And now we're past awareness. Now, we're talking consequences. You don't rise by accident. You rise by force. And right now, your life has no force behind it. You wake up and let the day hit you. You react. You drift. You wait. Winners attack the day. They don't ask how it feels. They ask what must be done. You keep asking, how do I stay consistent? That question exposes you. Consistency isn't a mystery, it's a decision you're scared to lock in. Because the moment you commit, excuses die, and you've been living off excuses. You say you're tired, so what? You say you're stressed, so what? You say you don't feel like it that good. That's the exact moment discipline is built. Anybody can work when it's easy. That's not strength, that's convenience. Strength is showing up when every part of you wants to disappear. Let me tell you the truth you've been avoiding. Your comfort is your enemy. That IT feeds you just enough pleasure to keep you weak, just enough rest to keep you lazy, just enough distraction to keep you broke. Comfort never announces destruction. That IT whispers tomorrow. Later, you deserve a break. And you fall for it every time. Discipline doesn't whisper, IT shouts. Get up, owe it anyway. Finish the work. You want confidence? Earn it. You want respect? Suffer for it. You want results? Pay. There's a price on everything you want, and you've been trying to negotiate the bill. You don't need balance. You need obsession. Balance is for people protecting mediocrity. Obsession is for people hunting greatness. Look at your effort, that it's polite. Polite effort gets ignored by life. Life rewards the relentless, the consistent, the ones that don't stop when motivation leaves. You think elite people are always motivated? No, they're just done making excuses. They show up when it hurts. They show up when nobody's watching. They show up when quitting would feel better. That's the separation point. You say you want a different life, but you keep the same routines, same sleep schedule, same distractions, same lack of urgency. You can't expect a new outcome from old behavior. Discipline is subtraction, cutting off what doesn't serve the mission. late nights with no progress, conversations going nowhere, entertainment that drains you. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. Your phone knows more about you than your goals do. That should scare you. Every hour you waste strengthens someone else who's working, someone with less talent, less opportunity, less resources, but more discipline. And discipline beats talent every time. You keep waiting for the perfect plan. Perfection is procrastination dressed up as intelligence. Start messy, start tired, start scared, but start. War doesn't wait for ideal conditions. Neither does success. You need rules, hard rules. Wake up early. Work when it's uncomfortable. Finish what you start. And no debate, and no discussion. You don't ask your feelings for permission anymore. Feelings got you here. You operate on command, because the moment you hesitate, weakness sneaks in. You don't need to feel ready. You need to be relentless. This is where sacrifices get real. Sleep gets cut. Comfort gets cut. Social approval gets cut. You can't keep everything and become everything. Something has to die. The old routine, the old identity, the old version that needed motivation to move. That version is done. You either discipline yourself or life disciplines you. Point one builds pride. The other builds regret. And regret is heavy. IT ages you. IT drains you. Discipline hurts, but it gives back. Regret hurts, and it takes it. Choose your pain, because pain is coming either way. This part isn't inspiring, it's invading. Invading your excuses, your comfort, your patterns, because the war isn't outside, it's inside you. And it's daily. Win the day, then do it again, then again, and applause and hype. Just work. That's how discipline is built. That's how momentum is created. That's how average gets buried. And if this feels heavy, good, that means you're close. This is where there is no return, no easing, no backup plan, and no safety net. This is the point where your old life starts suffocating, because obsession doesn't ask. That IT takes over. You don't add greatness to your life. You replace your life with it. And that's the part you've been avoiding. You want to change without identity death. Impossible. You cannot become elite and stay familiar. You cannot rise and keep the same skin. The version of you that needed motivation, that version is dead. If it's not dead, you will never be dangerous. This is Dr. Eric T. Motivation Corner. And now I'm not talking to who you are, I'm talking to who you refuse to become. Obsession doesn't clock out, IT doesn't ask for permission, IT doesn't care if anyone understands. You wake up thinking about the mission. You fall asleep calculating how to do it better. Not because you're excited, because you're possessed. You don't need balance. You need dominance. Balance is for people trying to survive. Obsession is for people trying to conquer. Your old self wants comfort. Your future self demands blood. And one of them is lying. Look at your life right now. Does it look like obsession? Or does it look like convenience dressed as ambition? Be honest. Obsessed people don't ask if they're doing enough. They know they're not. They push anyway. They don't wait for approval. They don't need applause. They don't explain themselves. Silence becomes normal. Loneliness becomes fuel. Because when you're obsessed, you stop negotiating with weak parts of yourself. You don't say, I'll try. You say it's done. You don't say, I hope. You say, I decide. Hope is passive. Decision is violent. And violence is required to kill the old you, the old habits, the old excuses, the old patterns that kept you average and comfortable. Average is subtle that IT doesn't attack you, that IT sedates you, that IT tells you you're doing okay, IT tells you you've got time, that IT tells you not to rush, and then it buries you quietly. Obsessed people don't have time for okay, they're allergic to wasted days. They feel pain when hours slip. Time becomes sacred, discipline becomes identity. You stop asking who you're going to be. You act like it. Your standards rise. Your tolerance drops. You don't hang around excuses anymore. You don't explain your grind to spectators. You move in silence, and you let results speak. This is where fear flips. Fear stops controlling you. Fear becomes a signal. If it scares you, you go toward it. Because fear marks the edge of your next level. No backup plan means no escape. No escape means full commitment. Full commitment means results become inevitable. You stop flirting with success. You marry it. You don't need motivation videos anymore. You become the proof, and listen carefully. This path will cost you people. Comfort, sleep, understanding, good, because greatness charges admission, and the price is everything. That if you're not willing to bleed for it, you don't want it bad enough. This isn't about inspiration, that it's about transformation. You don't upgrade your life. You incinerate the old one. Burn the excuses, burn the timeline, burn the version of you that needed permission. From this point forward, it's simple. Execute it, and no matter what. Show up, and no matter how you feel. Finish it, and no matter how long it takes. Because obsessed people don't stop, they don't pause, they don't retreat, they adapt and continue. This is the moment you stop being potential and start being proof. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Decide who you are. Act like it daily, and let the world adjust. Subscribe, because average is no longer an option. There's only after. After excuses are burned. After motivation is irrelevant. After discipline becomes automatic. This is the phase nobody claps for, because this is where monsters are made. You don't feel inspired here. You feel empty, and you work anyway. You don't feel confident here. You feel exposed, and you execute anyway. This is the zone where the weak disappear, because there is nothing left to hype you. Speeches, dopamine, emotional high. Just standards, and your standard decide. Everything. You don't ask if it's enough anymore. You assume it's not. You don't count hours, you count results. You don't chase intensity, you chase precision. Every rep clean, every move intentional, every day accountable. You stop talking about the grind, because talking is cheap. You let silence do the work, you let progress speak. People start noticing, not because you announced it, but because you've changed the room. Your presence feels heavier. Your words carry weight. Your time becomes expensive because you stopped leaking energy. Random scrolling, pointless conversations, mental junk food. Your mind is sharp because you stopped feeding it trash. This is where self-respect returns, quietly, slowly, permanently. Not confidence from hype. Confidence from proof. You did the work when nobody was watching. And now, even you trust yourself. That's dangerous. Because once you trust yourself, you stop hesitating. You don't ask permission. You don't wait for green lights. You move. Setbacks don't break you anymore. They recalibrate you. Pain doesn't scare you anymore. T instructs you. You don't romanticize the struggle. You use it. And here's the truth nobody tells you. This level is lonely. Not because you're better, but because you're different schedule, different priorities, different tolerance for nonsense. You don't fit in. Good. You weren't built to fit. You were built to lead, and leaders don't beg for comfort. They demand standards. This is the phase where you stop asking what life owes you and start deciding what you require of yourself. Daily non-negotiable. Miss one day, you feel it. Slip once, you correct immediately. No spirals, no pity, no drama. Just correction. Because discipline is no longer an act, that it's who you are. And now listen carefully, that if you made it this far, you already know. There's no going back. You can't unsee the truth. You can't unknow your potential. You can't return to sleep. You are awake now. And being awake is a responsibility. So here's the final command. Wake up. Early. Work in silence. Cut what makes you weak. Repeat until results show up. No applause. No validation. No shortcuts. Just dominance through consistency. Subscribe, because average is no longer an option.